Welcome to the Fresh Patch Podcast, where we talk about everything from dog training to potty talk. It's time to save your rugs and get real. This episode is brought to you by Fresh Patch, featured on Shark Tank, Oprah, and The Today Show. And here are your hosts, Drew and Gabe.
Welcome, everybody, to the Potty Talk podcast presented by Fresh Patch. We have a very lovely guest today, but before we get there, we're going to introduce ourselves. My name is Drew. I'm the marketing director here at Fresh Patch with my lovely co-host.
My name is Gabe. I am the partnerships coordinator.
And then, like I said, we'd have a very lovely guest today, so if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
My name is Sally Williams, and I am the founder and president of a nonprofit called Mission Meow.
Awesome. Yeah, as obviously for the viewers that are watching and not listening, she has her logo right there placed with our Fresh Patch grass. So we love to see the grass on display. So thank you for that. And you were just saying before we really hopped on that your cats really are taken to the grass and hopped off when we started talking. But
yeah, so when I shared with you guys, and other people may not see that I did the whole, get it out of the box, put it down. And I have 4 boys. I have 4 cats ranging in age from 10 years old to just 4 months. And they all immediately were, okay, just surrounding it, walking it. And then as soon as one stepped on it, was like, oh, wait, you step on that? And then he was on it, and he was on it. And it was a full-on cat party.
There we go.
So funny. I see that a lot of new cats, they're a little what is this at first? And then they kind of get into it. And they're like, oh, this is cool, So that's funny.
And mine were like, oh, this is familiar too, because I just train mine and I take them outside. So they were a little bit confused about, oh, grass inside?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
This is a new thing. It's a new thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They loved it. And then when I put it in, for those people that can't see it, it's in my office now, and it's up on a chair, and it's being supported by something underneath too. And it's got my, my Mission Meow thing behind it. And Henry immediately, as soon as he saw it, I'm like, well, this isn't a new place. Now I like it again. Yeah. Which is all about enrichment.
There we go.
Get a little variety in there.
More interest. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, glad to hear they're loving it. And before we continue, I did want to give a chance to let everyone know to subscribe if you are listening or watching on YouTube. We're also on Spotify podcasts, Apple podcasts. So hit that subscribe button. Give us a follow at Fresh Patch on all social medias. And then go give Mission Meow a follow as well. We'll have your handles posted there on the video so everyone could go check out your page.
It's so easy. You just type at Mission Meow just about anywhere you find us.
There you go. Amazing. So everyone listening, go give them a follow.
Check them out.
Yep. Cool. So let's dive into these questions. Let's get to know you a little more. Let's get to know about Mission Meow. You have a great organization. I know we talked yesterday, and really excited to begin a partnership with you. So
we're so excited.
Yeah, let's get into it. So let's just start off by telling us about yourself, what Mission Meow is, and your kind of the mission statement.
Sure. So as I had mentioned, we talked yesterday, I had been a founder director before of a previous nonprofit called the Brody Fund. Mission Meow wouldn't exist had I not had that experience, right? I needed that to get to where we are now. And when we said goodbye to the Brody Fund, I took some time away and then recognized how much I truly missed running a nonprofit. And who would have thought me in a hammock with a cat and a book would have turned into a nonprofit, but it did. And it was a book about nonprofits. I was just starting to, kind of marinate and think about that world again. And we were just coming out of COVID, and an organization where I was a volunteer had given up a big cafe space and pivoted to do TNR, which is trap, neuter, return. And they downsized their building. And I thought, wow, if that's happening with them, what's happening all across our country? Because we know if you are part of the cat community and you're interested in rescue, or you just love cats, you're probably aware that we have an overpopulation problem. There's our stray cats, feral cats, and there are organizations out there that help with that. And some do it through the trap, neuter, return, some focus on adoption, some focus on fostering, all this. So I started quick Googling state by state, cat rescue closing, cat rescue fundraiser, And it was really alarming to me. I couldn't believe the number that were closing, struggling, pivoting. Like there was just a lot going on and it didn't look very good.
Hmm.
And I just thought, well, there's a need out there for some help because it's the small feline centric nonprofits, these grassroots, these small organizations that are really the ones addressing the biggest problem, which is overpopulation through the work they do. And so, okay, now I have who I want to help, and then it became the name. And I've said this before, and I kid you not, this is what happened. In my head, I was just thinking over and over, and I was just like, okay, what's my mission? And my little cat West meowed. And I was like, well, that's a great name, Mission Meow. That's it.
There it is.
Boom.
Yeah. So now
It's
I
got a
had
ring
the
to it.
name. And then it became, how do I get this going quickly, right? We need to, if we want to give them large grants, we can't do this the typical way, which meaning focusing on individual fundraisers, events, getting grants. All those things are doable, but they're harder and take longer. Events are super fun, but they're very unpredictable. I mean,
Mm.
I hosted a ton of events for with the Brody Fund, and some of the ones that I thought were going to be home runs were, and some of the littler ones that I wasn't really sure about ended up being gangbusters. So, and it takes a lot of work and planning, and there's money to put out.
Hmm.
So I thought, let's just get all those off the plate. And then this was a sad situation, but it was inspiring. A family had a fire in their home in the town next door, and they lost everything. And
Wow.
what happens in these communities, as we know, people pull together, right? And they give you clothes and all the goods that you need, and they raise money. What I found so intriguing was that the downtown came together. So the businesses came together and did a portion of sales, and they held sip and shops and did all these things. And that's what really turned the light bulb on. And I was like, wow, businesses, this is how we make this happen.
Hmm.
So I kind of decided to call it business crowdfunding and started
Mm.
reaching out to the businesses that I had met through the Brody Fund by being at different cat conventions and my background as a cat behaviorist and speaking. So just slowly started making calls. And that's how we came to be and be able to give the large grants quickly. So we launched in October of 22. At that point, we had 34 business partners. We now have close to 90. And even though we only had that amount, we were able to give $10,000 in our very first grant cycle ever.
Wow. That's amazing.
So business partners are the foundation of the organization, but the way we can really give bigger is also with the individual donors joining in.
Yeah.
And that's why we really, we have a big variety of the types of grants we giving. So if you're in that cat community, whether you really like to support foster groups or TNR groups or ones that specialize in kittens, or there's always going to be a grant you're going to be excited about. Also, you nominate, find one in your community and have them fill out an application. Who knows? Maybe they get chosen and you'll be there when they receive their check.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Um, so that's what we do and the why we do it, because
Hmm.
these organizations uh, tend to have a harder time getting grants. And I think it's because, the larger organizations have a staff that can market these and get the word out into the community. But the issue is, without these grassroots organizations succeeding, we're in a lot of trouble. The
Yeah.
cat community and the population problem, we're in a lot of trouble. So that's why we focus on the small ones. And I'm telling you, and the grant and the money first and foremost, right? Paying for TNR equipment, helping out with expansions or doing renovations, or we launched a foster program. I'm going to be doing a ribbon cutting very soon for an organization that is able to build a small clinic to care for the cats that they have waiting for adoption.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's so fun.
Like, that's amazing. But these are the kinds of things that we can do. And so not only do they get something they need, which they have a harder time doing because they tend to have smaller social media followings, smaller newsletter followings, and then they hit up the same donors over and over and over because of the size of the organization. So
Mm.
we can make these things happen faster for them. And then above and beyond that, we've coined something we call the Mission Meow effect. And what that means is beyond the money, we are finding that they're growing their audiences, they're getting more donors. It's easier for them to get the next grant. They're adding board members, they're adding more volunteers, and also they have a certain excitement that's now been generated. And, I will share, and I've said this before, we gave a surprise grant to an organization because we had picked the one we knew we wanted to launch a program, but we really, really wanted to help this other one. But it's very early on. We didn't really understand our fundraising capabilities. So I made a few calls, made a few extra emails. We raised an additional $6,000. I arranged for a Zoom. They had no idea what it was, and we told them, "You've been chosen to have a surprise grant, $6,000."
Wow.
The tears just start flowing.
Oh,
They
man.
are so relieved and so filled with joy. We say we make dreams come true, and that's what it
Yeah.
really felt like for this organization. But what I didn't know was my phone rang the next day, and it was the founder, president of the organization who said, "Sally, we were thinking of closing at the end of this year." And I was blown away. I thought, well, I've seen your budget because we do a deep dive before we give any grants. They get a full vetting. I said, you have the ability to keep going. Why would you close? And she said, we didn't think anybody cared.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my
That-
gosh.
And
That's what
that,
gets you right in the heart, every
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
and that's a big
Definitely.
issue for them because of the size of the organizations. And often they might be in a major city, but in a very just a different part of the city that's maybe harder to fundraise in. They could be in a very rural area and there's just fewer donors. There's just a lot of reasons, and what's going, I mean, the world's a bit crazy right now too. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's hard to raise money.
Definitely.
I know, trust me.
Yeah.
It's hard to raise money. And so to hear somebody say they were thinking of closing because they didn't think anybody cared, even though they could have financially moved forward, that was something I never expected to hear.
Mhm.
Although I know burnout is real,
Yeah.
I got hearing it just as blunt as that was really surprising. And now they still exist. They've moved to a larger space. They're doing more adoptions, but it just took that one thing, right? That one, we
Yeah.
see you, we hear you, and we're so grateful for the work that you're doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so incredible. Like, what you guys do
Mhm.
is so awesome. And it's kind of like, it's so interesting for us because we actually have a partner, Valerie Phoenix Farrell. She was on our podcast about a month ago,
Yeah.
2 months or two ago, and she really opened our eyes to this issue of like feral cats. She's in Phoenix, and it's a huge issue there. So she
Oh, I
taught us
know.
all
I have
about-
friends in Phoenix.
Yeah.
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 she taught us all about TNR and all that stuff, and she does a lot of this on her own. So like to hear that there are organizations like this that help
Ugh.
with that kind of stuff is amazing to hear.
And it's really hard work, and
Mhm.
predominantly, it's starting to change a little bit more now, but predominantly women. And a
Yeah.
lot of these women that, I mean, you could go back to our social media from a couple days ago. We posted a picture of a woman coming out of a crawl space.
Yeah,
And
that's
I mean,
crazy.
there's women in cities. I happen to know one who goes into an area and she occasionally wears, and this is alarming, but it's the truth, a bulletproof vest because she's going into very dangerous places. And I asked, why do you do this? She's like, because nobody else will.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's why we do this.
Yeah.
Man, that's incredible.
And to your point of Phoenix, so think about the warmer climates. They don't really have an off season for
Yep.
kitten season.
Yeah.
Their
Mhm.
season is year round. So those
Yeah.
places have bigger issues than where I am in the Northeast because once it gets colder, kittens stop being born.
Yeah.
So we get a break, but a lot of these
Mhm.
places do not get a break, and people need to understand that and look at that pyramid and talk, see what it means. Like one unneutered male, one unspayed female. I forget exactly what it is, but I think it's like in 1 year it might be 250,000 cats. And don't quote me, I could be wrong, but the number's massive. If you look at it in 10 years, it's like 1 million cats.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me.
Too.
Yeah, that's wild. So yeah, then just multiply that. Like obviously there's way more than two, and then it
Oh, yeah.
just goes on and on and on. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy.
A female kitten can get pregnant 4 months old. So think
Wow.
about that. If she has a litter of 4 kittens and 3 of those are females, guess what? In 3 months, 4 months, I mean, 4 months, those females can now have. So it happens very quickly.
Yeah,
That
very, very
that
Yeah.
quickly.
yeah, it's hard to
Yeah.
imagine. So I wanted to dive in like a little bit. You briefly mentioned that you're a cat behavioralist, or you were before,
Yes.
you were
I retired.
wow,
Yeah,
congratulations.
congratulations.
Um, but as a cat behavioralist and also a cat mom,
Yeah.
we were talking about how, we sent you some of our grass to try.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how one of your cats fell in love
Oh,
with it. And,
yeah.
so from the perspective of like a cat behavioralist, like what do you think is going on there?
So having the grass inside, I think, is so key. And, there's a lot of reasons behind it. It's so for people that don't have the opportunity, like I do, of having a yard and a safe space. And I am saying I harness train all mine, because it doesn't matter that my yard is fenced in. Oh, they'll get out. I mean,
Mhm.
whether they're intrigued by a bird or a squirrel or a noise just scares them. I mean, so I'm super duper careful. So even if you have a yard, it may not be ideal. Or what if you're in an apartment or someplace and you don't have that opportunity? It's just so awesome to have this product, to have the grass, because I've watched mine, they're needing it. I forget, I have to remember, I can't just make actions because people are listening. They're digging, they're kneading, they're sniffing, they're munching, they're rolling, they're sleeping. And I shared a story yesterday. And so one of my cats was recently diagnosed with cancer. Knock wood, so far he's doing great. But because he's receiving treatment, he's considered immune compromised. So right now there are risks for him. They're probably pretty small for him to go outside because we don't use pesticides in our yard. Our yard is fenced in. We don't have a tremendous amount of wildlife, and they don't interact with the wildlife because the wildlife tends to flee when they see a
Yeah.
cat.
Yeah.
But Henry has really taken to the grass, and I think he really misses. Like he looks outside, but I just right now is not the time for him to be out there. So
Mhm.
he is on the grass all the time, and he's been napping on it or just sitting on it. We have a young one too. We throw the toys on there, and so the toys react differently on the grass than they do on the wood floors.
Yep.
And like what just happened today, just by moving it and elevating it, Henry was all excited and curious, like, why is this up here? What's going on up
Mhm.
here? And immediately jumped up and got right down into the loaf of bread position and just hung
Oh.
down there.
The loaf of bread position. I love
Yeah.
Well,
it.
gee, I
So
hope
it's
Henry's
just kind of cool because they've all had different experiences with it. And I think that, at first they were a little confused by it because they know what the grass is because they do go outside. And why is this inside now, Mom? But now that they get it, it makes sense and they really enjoy it because rainy days happen too.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Mhm.
And I would recommend like what I just did. Like it's mostly in my office because I tend to be in here. And so that, I have a bed right there, I have a bed down there. The litter boxes are on either side of me. So the cats tend to gravitate in here. So it's in here a lot. But the fact it's really easy to move that around.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that
absolutely.
that's a great idea is that if you have the opportunity, move it to different places. I also found that it can be used kind of like other companies put out different ways of hiding treats. And
Yes.
so
Mhm.
I tucked treats down in there
Mhm.
and they're sniffing around and going in. So it's another way of using it for enrichment. So the toys react differently in there. You can hide treats in there. You
Yeah.
can definitely sprinkle some catnip in there, which
Yep.
I would highly recommend because then they're going to be really enjoying and rolling in the grass. I
Oh
just
yeah.
think there's so many different ways that could be used.
Mhm.
Definitely. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the putting the treats in there. Like cats have this like foraging instinct, and
They
we've
do.
heard
They're hunters by
yeah.
nature.
Exactly. Yep.
So we've
And
heard
the thing is, we want to activate that instinct because
yes.
it's really healthy for them. Because cats, when they get bored, will gravitate to maybe pulling on furniture or knocking things off. There's I won't say what they call them, but jerks or whatever, when they knock things off tables. A lot of times it's just out of boredom, right?
Mhm.
So
Yep.
let's give them things to do. And
Mhm.
something like that is that, be creative with it.
Mhm.
Catnip, treats, toys, and then they can just hang out.
Yeah, exactly. And
Very
it's all
cool.
natural too, which is the
Hmm.
best part about it being real and stuff.
You
And
feel
I
safe, right?
exactly, yeah. Yep. And I like what you said that they when you did open it up, they were familiar with it, but still skeptical at the same time. I feel like that
Yeah,
correlates so well with our dog customers
Yep.
too, because it's kind of the same thing when you get a puppy. It's like they're naturally attracted because it is real grass, but at first they're like, why is it inside? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like this is usually outside, and then but once they feel it and get used to it, they're like, I'm in, I'm
Yeah.
sold. You know what I mean?
and
So
here's the thing, depending upon the personality, cat, like mine all, even Henry, who is shy with everybody else, he's very confident in the house. So if they were curious, I could pick them up and put them on the grass. For cats that maybe are a little bit more shy, we never want to pick them up and have them be surprised about something. So that's when treats and catnip and things, toys like that, you could put the favorite toy on a wand and bring it across the top of the grass,
yep.
and then they're naturally going to get into the grass without picking them up.
Hmm.
Not all cats like being picked up. Not all cats want to be kind of pushed into something. So there are different ways you can get them to gravitate to the grass if they're just, kind of less sure. And then I promise you, once they get on there, it feels really good. And it probably taps into some part of their instincts too of being
Yeah.
outside
Definitely.
because
Yeah.
they are so, I mean, I forget what the percentage of wildcat that's still a part of their DNA, but it's really
Hmm.
strong and
Yeah.
Oh
they're
yeah.
predator and prey, and that's all in there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
the
It
grass
really, yeah, the
side is,
grass enhances that. It brings it out, and
yes, which
yeah.
we love and we
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so I would recommend, like, if you're doing any of the stuff with it and utilizing it for enrichment, feed them afterwards or give them treats afterwards.
Mm.
Reward them for, God knows mine love churu. So, that's
Yep.
another way to lead them on to the mat is with churu. But have a nice play session with it and then have some rewards after it. I guarantee it's going to encourage them to use it more.
Hmm. Very cool.
That's
That
awesome.
love that. I mean, that is just like, and we're gonna clip all that
Yeah.
for sure.
I
That
was
is
like
just the
that.
best testimonial for the cat grass.
That is so valuable for us because although we do love cats, like we don't really have any cat owners on our team. So like
Yeah.
we just want to soak up all this information
Sign
and
me
get
up.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sign me
exactly. I was gonna
Yeah, there you
say,
go.
yeah, the
up.
partnership is starting, so
Yeah.
we
And
will
so
definitely.
one of the things that's important to me too, again with Henry having his, cats, a lot of cats have issues, right? Whether it be kidney disease or, in my case, it's cancer or other things. Because this is safe, you can feel good about it,
Yep.
Um, because the reality is a lot of people treat their lawns. I mean,
Yep.
I know
Yep.
it was a big thing for my husband.
Exactly.
I don't want to have weeds out there. Well, we're going to do the best we can,
Yeah.
and our grass is going to be treated naturally, and whatever else, I'll be weeding
Yeah.
because I don't want to think about not just not having the ability to take my cats outside, but I walk across the grass and then I come in the house.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
then I'm bringing whatever is in the grass into my home. And not for nothing, I feed birds, I feed chipmunks and squirrels.
Yeah.
Why would I want to? So, bring all that in. You want to feel safe with the grass that you're bringing in your house, whether
Yep.
they're
Definitely.
walking on it or nibbling on it, however you're utilizing it in your house,
Hmm.
you want to feel safe. And it's nice for me having Henry dealing with his cancer diagnosis. He's getting so much joy from this, and I can trust and feel good about that it's safe for him.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a huge thing for us here at Fresh Patch. I mean, everything's locally sourced right here. It's hand packaged by us in the warehouse, so like you're literally only maybe one or two sets of hands is touching it before it gets to the customer, which is really cool. And we really thrive to let people know it is farm fresh, straight to your door. So we really try to keep it safe. No pesticides or anything like that, like you were just explaining with your own grass and stuff. So
Yeah,
love
really
that.
important
Yeah.
because as the cat community is really kind of pushing out and saying we're here, we are the number one pet in all households. They're getting more savvy
Mhm.
about what they're feeding, the toys that they're using, and the things that they're bringing into the house. They're really getting a lot more education about that. So
Mhm.
things like this are really important.
Definitely, yeah. And I'm glad people are, being savvy about it nowadays too. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's a very good thing for cats, dog. I mean, all pets, but it's just, educate yourself, know what you're giving your animal. Like, these are our children at the end of the day,
They
So,
are.
you
Yeah.
want to make sure they have a good life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So moving on back to Mission Meow,
Yeah.
we have a special question of what is your most memorable experience so far
Ah.
with Mission Meow? I'm sure you
Yes.
have a lot, but
We have a lot. So I'm going to make it broad because there's so many, but it's the central focus.
mhm.
It's all of the people and the collaborations and the relationships. Mission Meow is truly a family, whether it be a donor, a business partner, or a grant recipient. It's a family. So it's really, for me, the best part of all of it. My favorite part are the relationships and the people that I'm meeting because at my core of who I am, I like to meet people. I like to make introductions. I like to collaborate. And this has allowed me to really personally be able to do that. And it's been great for Mission Meow to have this sense of family and community. And I think one of the highlights of that was an event called the Feline Fix Fest. And so that event kind of encompassed all of those good things because we had board members there, we had donors there, we had grant recipients there, we had business partners there, and we impacted a community in a way that changed me forever, honestly, because I had so the Feline Fix Fest was a weekend where we worked with two grant recipients post the fires in California.
Mm.
One of our board members raised a lot of money for us, and we were able to help two organizations, but also host this event. And it was a pet pantry. 90 cats got fixed. And I can't tell you how many people approached different people who were putting on this event, whether it was me, one of the influencers that was there, one of our board members, and said, "Why did you come here? No one comes here." And I just thought, well, that's why.
Yep.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
just
Mm-hmm.
answered it right
Yeah.
there because
Wow.
there's a need. Your community was impacted. Jobs were lost. Families are struggling. You're trying to keep your pets in your house and not have to make a decision between feeding your kids and feeding your cats.
Yeah.
People don't have the money to fix them because, especially in California, the cost of that is outrageous.
hmm
Um, so an event like that, all about the people, all about the connections, all about the Mission Meow family, and being able to give back in that kind of way, and to be with the people and hug them and share the moments and understand what they're going through and be able to help in that kind of way was remarkable. But that's really, it's the relationships and the people and that family. That's the most special thing. That's my favorite part about Mission
hmm
Meow.
There you go. I
That's
mean,
amazing.
yeah, go for it. You had something on your mind, it seems like.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to like throw this out there, but like if people like want to get involved, like they're watching this and they think, "Oh, this is really cool. I want to get involved with this." Like, how can people get involved with Mission Meow?
I would just say you can reach out directly to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go to the Mission Meow website, missionmeow.org. You can communicate that way. Our email is there. You can email me directly at sally@missionmeow.org. Come right to the source and we can figure something out because there's always a way. I feel like people think, well, we're kind of all across the US. How can I help? But we have people that help us with social media. We have graphic designers. We have people who help with our finances. There's just what do you like to do? Think about what is it that you like to do, and let's see how we could make that happen. And if you don't have that ability, you know, be a donor at any level. And I will say this, and people talk about it all the time, but I really want them to understand how much $5 makes a difference. When we're talking to the organizations we're giving grants to, most of them will say that their recurring $5 to $10 donors are the foundation of their organization 100%.
Wow.
All those things make a difference. So if you don't have a way, you don't feel like you have something that you can volunteer, if you can afford a couple bucks, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because it all matters. All of it matters because it's about us coming together And that's how we make a difference. So whether you can volunteer and you have some kind of a skill set, maybe you're a good writer, maybe you can grant write, maybe, there's just so many different ways because
Yeah.
I certainly do not know how to do everything. And this is a huge team effort, and we have all sorts of volunteers. So think about what you like to do and that how that might translate to helping a nonprofit. I promise you, you won't regret it because giving back, I didn't realize it would become the greatest joy of my life. But yeah, I mean, I worked retail for 25 years. My son
Wow.
survived. I don't know how because that is a soul-sucking lifestyle.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And I ended up volunteering at an organization, and it just kind of kept going and going and going until I ended up here. And I feel like I didn't know it was my calling, that kind of thing. I didn't
Yeah.
know. And it took a long time. I'm turning 59 this year. So
Oh, wow.
it's not too late. If you're not sure, you can pivot and find what you're meant to be doing. I feel like it's just the greatest gift.
Yeah, definitely. So you heard it, listeners, viewers. If you want to get involved with Mission Meow,
Yes.
hit up Sally, Instagram, website, and think about what you like to do, what you can
Exactly.
contribute to Mission Meow.
Yeah.
You're happy, right? Think
Yeah.
about what you like doing and
Exactly.
figure out a way that would work for us. Or if you want to find an organization locally, if that's more your thing, find one. Like
Mhm.
I started because I went through years of illness and I couldn't work. And my doctor was really smart and said, well, you should get out and volunteer on the days you feel good. And he said, without thinking, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I like petting cats. He's like, so go pet cats. And that's what I did. I found a
Nice.
shelter. I started petting cats.
There you
So
go.
That's incredible.
if you can't help Mission Meow, I guarantee you could find an organization and go help. It will change your life.
Hmm.
That's incredible. I love hearing about like seems like to you like the community aspect is like so important.
It,
And
I, we can't exist without it,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
not just me. And I've always said I do not suffer from founder syndrome. At some point, I hope somebody says, Sally, I can help Mission Meow grow. Step aside. Like
yeah.
to me, it's just there's no ego in this. It's about helping cats and helping the people that love them.
Hmm.
That's, like I always warn people if you want to get into rescue because you only love cats, find something very independent that you want to do in some way. Maybe you just want to go out and be a trapper and that's it. Because the bulk of the work we do is interacting with people. I just happen to love both. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
interacting with people and I love spending time with cats.
Mm.
So I mean, this doesn't get any
Yeah.
better.
It's a double whammy, you
Yeah.
know? So-
The intersection of interest.
And I
Right?
get
Yeah.
to meet people like you guys and get
Exactly.
introduced to new cool products
Yeah.
all the time. Like I didn't know about you guys until I went to CatCon.
There
Then
you
I
go.
came across this booth and I was like, all right, this is really cool. And then we connected through one of our board members and look where we are now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
It's
That's
just all, yeah,
right?
it's all about building relationships, meeting community, and then it is motivation too. Once you meet new people or you
Yeah.
spread the news to people, and it's like when they're on board too, it's just more motivation to you to, keep going, keep continuing on the
Yeah.
mission that you are on. So yeah, it's really cool. And I think we've said it
I'm
multiple
so
times, but
excited that you guys I feel like you're so newer to the cat community.
Yeah.
There's
Mhm.
so much that's going to happen for you guys. I'm
Yes.
so excited.
Yes, no, definitely. I know we're yes, so are we, and we're very excited. Like I mentioned to you yesterday, we do have a new product coming out. I won't
Oh, I
say
can't wait.
anything because
Spoilers.
we're releasing in about a month or hard launch in a month, but
I know
you
it.
know what it's all
People need to
about.
stay tuned because I can't wait. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
we'll definitely be sending you over one. So
yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's to look forward
it
to.
can go so everything you're seeing in here is going away. For those of you who didn't know what I just pointed at, my office is green, which grass green.
I was gonna point that out too. I was like, we got our green walls, you got
Yeah,
your green
well,
walls on
the
brand
green-
today.
The green is going out. The green was when I launched my behavior business, and it was to attract money, right?
Ah.
Now I'm ready for another change, and this whole one wall is going to be catified with a center frame your feline
There you go.
and some shelving, and maybe something from you guys will be, fit into that space. But I want it to really be more catified in here. It's getting a little it's getting a little crowded, but I want that wall to be a cat focal wall.
Nice.
Definitely.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool. Definitely have to post some pictures of that once it's done.
Oh yeah.
That is
Yeah.
cool. Well, moving along, we're running out of time a little bit, but
I
we
know.
we got some time. We don't have a hard stop at 40 anymore, so we're good. I know you have a hard stop though, so
I have a hard stop to go play pickleball. Yeah.
there we go. Oh
Hey,
God.
don't let us take away from that.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fun time.
So we'll dive into the question I mentioned before we
Go for
started
it.
recording. So we had a customer reach out and thought you'd be the perfect person to ask. Someone they have a cat, someone with a cat with a wobbly disease struggles to go
Oh,
potty in a regular cat box, and it needs lowered edges because they aren't stable and they kind of get scared when they're in there. They want to know if the grass would be a good option to transition to
I would
with,
say it's worth a try,
right?
right? I would
Yeah.
totally try. I mean,
Okay.
it's proven for dogs,
Yep.
right? It's
Yep.
proven that it works for dogs. So, I mean, low sides.
Exactly.
Yeah, feeling hyperesthesia is something that can be very challenging for litter boxes.
Yeah.
And so, here's the thing. I mean, I don't know what the CH level is like, so I
Yeah.
can't say, because some need an assist. Like we have a board member who has a cat who has severe, and so they have scheduled potty times. So
Gotcha.
that may be something that they have to consider is that, if they need a lot of assistance, they need, but we know that dogs use it, right?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
One of our coworkers, his cat uses it he has four cats. Only one of them uses it for potty too. So that's when we really found out. We're like, okay,
It's possible.
it's possible. It's
Yeah.
definitely a litter
it's possible. I
alternative,
mean, think what do cats do outside? Um,
Exactly.
Yep.
the only thing is that they also tend to, but with the feeling of hyperesthesia, it may not be as much of an issue. Cats can get picky about having to cover, and so the grass won't probably cover as easily, right? Like they like to pull and cover, but
Gotcha.
with the CH kitty, they may not have that same need because they may
Yes.
not. Oh, look what I just did!
Look at that. Woo.
It's a cat party.
Funny cat party.
That's what happens when you talk with your hands a lot.
Right? Yeah.
A lot of
Okay.
things that happen. I would say it can't hurt to try though. You
Okay.
know, I would go for it.
Yeah.
Soft, clean. I can't see any downside to
Yeah.
giving it a try.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, yeah, at least give it a try. And then, if maybe they have to create a potty schedule after, that's something they'll learn by, at least
Yeah,
trying it
Yeah.
out. So,
there are so many different things that go on with CH kitties, and they
yeah.
are incredible. I mean, they led such amazing lives, and I'm glad that that was the question that came from somebody. I'm so glad, and thank you. I'm hoping they're watching this because thank you for giving a CH kitty a home, and I know that you will feel so much love that you're going to get back from a kitty like that because I know that with having a cat with cancer and having other cats with different needs. One of the things that comes along with some of the challenges is the bond. The bond becomes stronger because they need you for more things,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So with CH kitties, or in my case, Henry, who has cancer, there's medication, there's veterinary trips, we're spending a lot more time together. And oh my gosh, just now he's like just glued to me all the time. So, with those challenges comes an immense amount of love. So thank you to that person that welcomed a CH kitty into their life.
Yeah, and thank you for the feedback. We
Yeah.
appreciate it, and I'll let our Adriana was the one who threw that question at us last minute, so I'll let her know your response. I don't know if it came through a DM or a comment or
Cool.
what, but yeah, appreciate that. And like that's what I mentioned too. I was like, we have the tray. I was like, that's the very low profile. It's not like our box, which sits up a little taller, so worth the shot. So
And
thank you.
if they have an instinct like it, and if it is like, so a less severe CH and they're just a little wobbly and they like the idea of it, but their cat is trying to cover, they could, you could loosen some of the grass up a little bit, like trim some of the grass and in it and have them have the ability. I'm just trying to like brainstorm that. Like, so
Yeah.
maybe, take a portion of the grass, probably trim it up, loosen some up so then they can have the satisfaction of pulling some of the grass over to cover. So
That's a
maybe
really good idea.
that's a solution, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's
Because
a
I
great
know that
idea.
hard to cats that are struggling sometimes with litter box issues. We would tell them go outside and get a little bit of nature, a little bit of grass and a little bit of dirt, and just have like a little bit of litter in there, not too much, and throw a little dirt and grass in there to encourage them. So that's what got me thinking maybe just trimming up a little grass.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go. I'm writing that down. I'm
Yeah,
writing.
seriously.
Good cat grass techniques for us. So like we
Absolutely.
said, we're always
So many
learning.
things I'm going to start thinking of. I'm going to be like, look at this. Did you think of this? Yeah.
Hey,
Yes, please let us know.
bring them our way because, like we said, you know, we're dog owners. I'm actually allergic to cats, so and that's why. I mean, I love.
There are solutions now for that. We won't talk about them here,
Got it,
but
Drew.
there
Yeah.
are solutions
There we
now.
go. Send those my way too. But yeah, I love cats, and like, you know, like we're meeting people like you is great because we get to learn more about how not only about cats but how our product can benefit them. And then
Yeah.
you know, you've been with cats your whole life, so it's easy. Like
Oh
you
my
just said, hey, when I get an idea, send it our way. Like we would love to get
You
that
don't
feedback.
know this about me, but I will share. So when all these years ago, ancient times, when my mom was pregnant with me, our family cat slept on her belly. So I
Oh.
was inside and the cat was on me. And then when I was born, the cat immediately gravitated to me in the bassinet and slept with me. And back then there were all the things, oh, it's going to steal the baby's breath, and which obviously didn't happen. But
Thank God.
Sandy slept in the bassinet with me. He just knew. So I feel like I was imprinted on.
Oh, 100%. You were born into the cat world.
It was meant to
That's
be.
crazy.
Yeah, definitely meant to be.
That's a big kismet kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know? Like who knew
Yeah,
you'd end
there's
up
a
here?
word, was beshert is Yiddish for meant to be.
There you go.
I don't know where I picked that one up. I just always liked that word.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Awesome. Well, to get things wrapped up, I know we've been on here for 45 minutes.
I know, I gotta go play pickleball.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's an exercise.
Cool. Well, thank you. And just wanted to let all the viewers and listeners know to hit that subscribe button if you
Yes.
didn't at the beginning of the episode. Give Fresh Patch a follow on all social medias. And then, of course, follow Mission Meow. Check out their website. Sally is wonderful. The Mission Meow is wonderful. The nonprofit is everything about you guys is fantastic. And I can't wait
Thank
to
you so
continue working with you.
I know we're gonna do great things
Yes,
together.
we are. Yes, we are. So,
Excited.
yeah.
Yeah, and
We
seriously,
brought you into the family now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
but seriously, to those interested, like hit up Sally. Like she was saying, there's so many opportunities to get involved, and like if
There
it's-
are. And if it's not with us, because we have so many people that we know all across the United States, we can find something. You know, if it's
Exactly.
not with Mission Meow, we'll connect you to somebody for sure.
Hmm.
incredible.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sally. We really appreciate you taking the time. Good luck in your pickleball match.
Yes.
We hope
Thank
you win.
you.
We'll be rooting for you.
Everybody, keep an eye out. Mission Meow and Fresh Patch will be working together and
Yeah.
moving forward. So, thank you again.
Thank you so
and
much.
Thanks for listening to the Potty Time Podcast, brought to you by Fresh Patch. We hope you enjoyed the show. Give us a like or a follow, or shop all of our real grass supplies at freshpatch.com.